In the past, we only understood what happened when it happened, looking back. Today, we can see, learn what is going on while it is going on. Can we use this to reinvent ourselves as a civilization, or we will need to fail like so many civilizations before? So that's still the question that it's in the air for today as well. We are challenged to live in a VUCA period and RUPT period. It will be essential for our civilization to develop collective intelligence. We need to help each other to make time to learn from our past. We keep chasing our future without recognizing that reviving our past is not time lost, but perspective gained.
When we talk about the emergence of a global eco-civilization, we're talking about something collective. The global eco-civilization would be what anyone coming from some other planet would look at Earth and say, oh, look, this is what the humans are doing. This is how they are now. This is what they look like.
If we are aware of our heritage, not only on an individual basis, but also on a collective basis, and then not only, let's say, on a geographical basis, but on a global basis, this is something that really empowers us for the current, or as I would call it, present future, the future that is present in the now. It's not societies, or it's not many people who are changing actually a status quo, but it is a few individuals. I doubt it. Is this really true? Like a few individuals have the ability to change? And here again, I would say yes and no. We are all one, like the oneness, right? Here again, I doubt it. Yes and no.
The examples that we're trained to look at, or that are kind of available to us, ultimately kind of, as you use the word fail or fall, for me, I kind of want to use the word transition, because I think they kind of break up into smaller pieces. They do so because at some point that kind of grand idea of how we should be living starts to form a crack. And because you believe in something so kind of highly, and it raises itself on a pedestal so highly, it falls quite rapidly. If we are to recognize something that's new, is it not something that we remember? Because something that is truly new is something we won't recognize. So maybe this thing of an emergence of a new civilization is something that we have to train ourselves to use the kind of common, kind of fashionable parlance right now, which is to unlearn something, unlearn recognizing something. Maybe it's to kind of undo our kind of bent towards exceptionism and maybe look at something banal, which I think is an interesting provocation.
So the challenge today is this globally connected world, in spite of all diversity, capable of building on something that looks very normal, that looks very actually boring, and defines the common denominator for our coexistence.
Is there the potential now to really talk about a global civilization? A civilization that is made out of the unity in diversity, that has a common identity as humans on Earth, and yet has full spectrum humaning. I would say we are now kind of at the potential point for a global civilization. We have a potential, maybe, to interlink the different civilizations. I like the idea of this eco-civilization because it's not a networked civilization. That seems sterile. That seems like it might not be alive. But an eco-civilization has it's an ecosystem. It has a living quality to it.
Are we looking at a kind of flipping of how we understand the word civilization, and kind of ontologically, we understand the notion of being civil and the word civilization as a kind of performance, a performance of us as a being, and how that civilization kind of attracts a kind of moral framework. We understand civilizations to have existed because they've been organized. They've been organized around a particular set of thoughts, a particular set of practices. And they form, in a sense, quite kind of, I guess, linear organized systems. If we allow something that is more kind of intertwining and kind of shifting around, and that we watch the growth as opposed to try and kind of contain it, what happens then?
It's a civilization in the eye of the beholder.
We, as humans, were not sure if we are equal or have the same rights. We had the opportunity to call others non-humans, although they have been part of our species. But at one point, we came to this conclusion of, and I think that's a conscious conclusion of, wait a second, we are humans. Shouldn't we be, at least amongst each other, treated like those? And I'm just thinking now forward, if we come to this declaration, at any point in time, we could come to another declaration that says animals, that says planet, that says, and what have you. And I think that this is a maybe civilizatory process.
Can civilizational transformation be monitored, and can it be actually reinvented by humans, or they are the laws of nature that are higher than the civilization and humanity itself, that kind of also are pushing us into some sort of cycles, like climate change cycles?
Maybe what we could be doing is maybe looking away from humanity for the signs of a new civilization. Maybe we're not the answer. Maybe there are other systems that we could be looking at that, in a sense, evidence themselves as kind of great civilizations that are not human. We take ourselves out of being at the top of some particular chain of organization and, you know, in a sense, truly try and find a way to integrate with the many other systems of life that exist on the planet.
What the heck is the purpose of the species human on this planet Earth? I mean, seriously, would any unguided evolutionary process produce something like the one species that can destroy itself and everything else? Is that our purpose? What if, and I like it very much, it is our purpose to be conscious and to be conscious shepherds of evolutionary processes. And this is why we got this wonderful gift by the whole evolutionary process.
There's a beautiful quote from the 14th century Persian poet Hafiz, who says, I am the hole on the flute through which God's breath blows. Or I am the hole on the flute through which the universe expresses. You know, this is the idea of letting ourselves being part of a larger narrative, but also knowing that this music is a life-affirming, future-creating, and opportunity-increasing music. The World Citizen Identity Card. And on the back, it has a little quote from Socrates. I'm a citizen, not of Athens or of Greece, but of the world. And rewilding is the engagement with nature. It's not chaotic, it's not anarchic. It's actually learning with, and it's very about biomimicry. It's about learning with nature and seeing ourselves as part of a complex, interdependent web of life. That asks the simple question for any challenge you have, any moral or ethical frame. Ask yourself, what would love do?
We need to broaden the scope of, or the space within which we think and engage.
There is only one chance when this is happening, and this is happening when there is another pressure on the already established paradigm. And the other pressure comes from outside, from the landscape. It is the environmental change. It is also a conscious change. And then there is this opportunity that the new, which might be boring. I'm referring to that one now because, yes, some of the things I see now are indeed boring, but great. But they have the chance to enter the societies or the civilizational processes and change.
The concept of community is really challenged. For me, the message of today is that we really have to spread our way of thinking. We should never underestimate nobody and nothing. It doesn't mean that something is good or bad or better or worse, but just different, and that we have to include, but not in this narrative that we include others. We have to include ourselves in others' way of thinking. More and more people are actively thinking and doing something about how they live their lives. It's not just about talking and thinking. People are already making changes. 180,000 families are living off the grid just in the United States. The new civilization is here.
Not just the mindset and not just the heart set, but also the consciousness set is something that affects our civilizations. We have now the highest possible consciousness on the planet Earth, and that this consciousness is allowing us really to work on a collective scale. And this was something that was not possible 10 years ago. Now it is possible. And this consciousness set, if I say so, is available for us as a collective, not for individuals.
The provocative thought at the beginning when you said we are one, yes and no. And I would just like to propose the theory, the thought that perhaps both is possible and that we should somehow embrace it. Perhaps we are not the answer, and perhaps we should be more nature-oriented. I think that in this collective consciousness, we can explore more of the consciousness that is in the nature, in the environment that surrounds us. And some solutions or ideas might come from there. Some might come from the individual, from the us as individuals, and some from the us as connected into one being or one consciousness.
Sounds like VUCA concept to me.
Is it even possible for a new civilization to emerge, right? Because of all that we've done to our world today. I started wondering as to what our purpose really is. So is then our purpose really not to be making the change that we all desire, right? And merely to be able to move those small little pieces that each one of us can, so that those who come after us can then keep moving more pieces, and then those that after them may move more pieces as we keep evolving towards an evolution of the civilization than a new civilization in totality. Because again, for a new civilization, as I said, I don't know, maybe we're too far down the path now to actually be able to envisage a new civilization by itself.
As a civilization, obviously, we are right now coming, in a kind of space where we are collectively reawakening those inner potentials. So, and what I'm seeing is that actually we might loosen up and really, really allow this process of, I would say, opening these beautiful gifts that are still being so undiscovered to unfold. Because I have to say, there even a notice, of course, that we are not separated. Is it a space of oneness and an amazingly creative space in present, which means that actually from it we can rediscover I think everything new, everything, I think all systems, the way we communicate, our voice, vibration, thoughts, emotions, everything, I think is giving us an enormous big chance live to be reinterpreted, as you said before, reinvented. I see it as a strong purifier to give us the chance as a civilization to embrace those till now unknown to the mind potentials of what we are.
We have the memories of ancient around us, within us. It's just time we need to awaken them and let them work through us. What if we are not one? What if we are a network? It is time to raise awareness for revolutionary consciousness.
If not us, then who? If not now, then when?